What's up, guys? Vince Roddy here. Welcome to VinzTalk, where I don't really have much to talk about. I decided to switch this up and really go into news instead of the usual gaming stuff, or maybe there might be some gaming stuff, or might be some animation stuff. But overall, it's basically just stuff that is happening outside because it's usually like all cozy inside and pretty much talking about what's happening within gaming and anything involving media. But this time, I decided to actually put some stuff that is out there. Not the best of my knowledge, to be honest, but at least it's a good amount to really talk, or get into like what's really happening outside of my bubble in terms of this and that, and just add it in all and see what happens within this podcast if I'm, especially qualified to actually do it, knowing that if I'm going to listen to myself, I guarantee you I'm going to try, but I'm not the best when it's, my knowledge, because mostly it's gaming and animation, sometimes movies and books that I talk about within VinzTalk. I never wanted to bring anything outside of that bubble. I never really want to bring any sad updates, even though I do. And even though when it comes down to rants, at least I'm ranting about something that is usually within the spectrum of gaming and animation and stuff like that. So this news and new kind of not really new, but just I usually talk about news in Vince Talks, but I never really go into full lengths. I never go into a very serious, and I'm probably still not going to do that. I'm still not going to do this whole seriousness when it comes to really talking about what I'm about to talk about. So pretty much here I am, and let's just get started and see where this lands us in terms of news and just a couple, because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening out there, and usually when something really big happens, I talk about it. But this is just one of those man, have you heard about this? But little updates. Apologies of on Friday I uploaded late. I just got out of work because I usually work very late, during Fridays. So my upload schedule is, listen, the reason why it's usually in the weekend, I do all my recordings during the weekdays, and then here we are in the weekends, and I give you this, and that's never changing. That's literally, it's kind of stuck to me. It's kind of like muscle memory. So it's something that I'm used to, especially really not committing much within this channel, because the fact that I don't get paid is really starting to wear it. When it comes down to the financial part, it gets to you. Friends and certain family discourse happens, because when it comes to money, that's something that drives to that. I think I lost a couple friends because they took me they took an advance at me for financially. Hold on, let me re-say that. They basically treat me as their wallet, and I have to pay for them, and that was years ago, and I think they're sorry about that, and they don't realize how it hurted me or my family in a sense. But that's when I was I just can't do this. But then realizing, I was is this gonna be the same thing for other friends? My parents told me hey, you gotta make more friends. Listen, it costs money. You think it's cheap out here? Unless they, I really care about them, or they really care about me, then we would pay. But that's usually just not realistic, because what I think realistically, because when it comes to friends, that's why you meet them at parties or big events, So when it comes down to my old friends that I meet, it's always at a party. It's always at a big event. But when it comes down to hanging out, it's usually not feasible, because you have to pay. And I guess that's how it is for adulthood. Maybe it's probably different in your age. If you're a teenager, probably 17, and maybe if you're 17 and still doing this, because some of these kids like to be adults so quickly. You have 17 and 16-year-olds acting like 21-year-olds, and all because you have a freaking driver's license, and you've been driving for only half a year, and you just got your license literally last month, thinking that you freaking hot-ish. They probably have a better way of handling it, or make more money in a younger age, for Lord knows how or what they're doing to make that money to more better than qualified than me, as you can hear me ranting. But I'm gonna try not to rant much in this podcast. What I really want to talk about is just, like a couple of news here and there, especially surrounding media, related stuff. But the other stuff is like just crazy. I just want to talk about those sooner. And here I am trying to get past to these topics real quick. So, Twitch. What is up with the strict guidelines here? Okay, I never understand like what their intentions of, like, especially the last time when they tried to promote like, nudity in their site. Well, not promote it, but just saying like, hey, we decided that, hey, we are an 18 plus or something. I don't even know. I don't know if Twitch did a good job of me, for me to forget about it, or for most people to forget about it. But they kind of did, because now I'm just like, crap, what did they do with that? But I will never forget that they literally like, hey, it's okay to put nudity in this site or something, or whatever in those terms or something. And I'm not sure if people were celebrating, but I know for a fact that literally not even like a week, they decided like to go back and be like, yeah, no, nudity is not allowed here. Sorry, guys. Because they realize they lose sponsors and here and there. And it's like, well, I don't know whose fault is that, Twitch. And now Twitch, as a site that I used to watch a lot of, streams here and there for, I don't really know, like, I don't even know what do they have there in terms of Twitch Premium? I know YouTube Premium. I have YouTube Premium. But Twitch Premium, pretty much the reason why I don't go to Twitch is also the ads. But also, like, I just don't really care about it. I just keep hearing bad stuff after bad stuff surrounding Twitch. And it's just like a never-ending straw of just, consequences that they're just dealing with. So this is pretty much another one that is kind of like took a backlash within the community of people that use Twitch, as basically Twitch is now taking strict guidelines to make sure that not one single perp is actually around at all in the community, or one simp, or just whatever you may call it, because they ban people that stream, that focus on a certain body part for a certain amount of time. And if you that pretty much release a strike within your channel or Twitch channel. And listen, when it comes to explanations for any of this, I'm not the best. I'm not qualified. Usually, if I were to take this seriously, I would have papers in front of me, all notes and documents, all pen and painting and everything like that. But nope, listen, I'm doing this for free. This is just therapy for me. VinzTalk is not just a place where you get to hear news from me and stuff like that. It's literally therapy. It's kind of like my way of just yelling and just shouting like what's happening in my life. So that's pretty much what it is. Like, I'm not over here trying to perform or trying to actually give you like, a top tier news anchorman style. The news today. No, ain't nobody give a damn. Okay, I'm just here to talk and just talk until whatever I rant is basically a release from all the struggles in my life. That's just what I want. All the stress in my life, I'm just releasing it. I'm filtering it outside of this podcast. So that's what. But probably not for the VinzTalk podcast. I still to this day remember my interview with TVC and just how very disorganized that was on my part. And as much as I try to be the leader and try to make it professional, man, what I forgot is to raise her volume when I was interviewing my guests. And I really want to do more podcasts, but gosh, I'm not qualified to actually ever do one in any of that sort. And as much as I really want to do it, like, another thing is that where I'm at is not, I can't really record when my parents are like around. Like, that's just another thing. So either I have to wait to find a place or find a studio to actually do these kind of podcasts one day. Maybe that can happen. But then again, you got to think about the time that these people that I'm interviewing is. I got to I gotta figure out a way how to make this, whole interview thing a process. Though it's not important, it's still something that is just ingrained in my mind, because I do want to build relationships outside of my neighborhood. you know, the outside of my circle, and just talk and have a therapy session with other people. And that's kind of like what I want to, advertise. A therapy session with people that I've been watching for years. Just, it's more so of an interview. It's a therapy slash like talk about everything and anything you want to talk about. Listen, I'm all ears, that kind of deal. Anyways, moving on to the next news, or if you can even call it that, real news. This has to do with what's happening in New York. The freaking punching women thing, the guy that is punching women like randomly out there. It's the most randomish that I have ever really heard out there, because I'm like, all right, hold on. Let me get this straight. Some random dude is just punching women out of nowhere. Like, these women just didn't record themselves to gain attention for no damn reason. So there's a part of me where I'm like, well, yeah, it's definitely not fake. But also it's like, why though? Like, why is there a man in New York just randomly just punching women? Mind you, women. I'm talking about women that, whatever it is that you define as a woman, that to them, that's their punching bag. Why? I have no idea. I don't know what's happening in New York. There's a lot of things in New York that I never understand, even though I haven't been there since I was elementary. Like, it's been a while. But as because I mostly visit Jersey, and that's, I guess, my best reference of New York. But I don't know what's going on. What's the vibe there? What is it that, there's certain areas and environments that gets people go crazy and turn angry. When it comes down to cities, I try my best to avoid them. A lot of times I don't live close to the city, and I basically choose to never really go to the city in terms of hanging out and stuff, because I know the amount of crazy stuff out there, and the stuff that, that I'm just not like, what's the point of really going there in the first place? Yes, there's conventions that are in the city where I want to go there. There's like friends in the city where I'm like, yeah, I want to visit them. Or if it's a city that, hey, for example, I'm in Seattle for this amount of time, I kind of want to check out the city, during my, day off of whatever it is I'm doing there. I'm pretty much, or maybe I'm in Seattle because I want to see the city. I guarantee you I wouldn't spend all that freaking money for a plane ticket to do that, but hey, it's kind of like one of those things like, this could be a one chance, to actually just look around, just walk around, stuff like that. So when it comes down to New York, I do want to revisit and actually check out, some places here and there, but every damn day, it's almost like you hear this and that about New York. You hear the struggles, you hear, like, it's definitely, it's its own character. It's its own battlefield. It's its own, like, mental battlefield. Like, the people just are suddenly crazy when they live in the city. I don't know what it is. Though I've been a city person here and there, or at least a project, because I was raised in the projects, in a project that is based in Oakland. I don't know if you can call it a city. It's definitely a city for sure. A small city, but a city next to a bigger city, San Francisco, which I refuse to visit. But a lot of times when things happen there, I'm like, okay, fine, I guess I'll go. Listen, almost every one of my family members stopped going to San Francisco, and that used to be the place that they hang out. But now it's just trash. It is just like everywhere you go there, in San Francisco is like a toilet. So you can only imagine what's up with New York being one of the biggest cities out there, or at least that's what it kind of feels like a lot of times when you're not in New York. But another thing that is happening in New York is basically squatters. Like, this news about this random man that is staying at this woman's place, and just squatters are just, just like, and I don't really know the term squatters. Listen, a lot of people that talk about this are heavily qualified. I guarantee you. Me, I'm just telling you as a friend that is probably going to go to work in 2 minutes or something. Not really, because it's the weekends. But I'm just telling you the way I'm giving you in lamest terms. Some random dude just that is not really robbing this house, but is living in it without permission of the woman. And the woman tried to call police, and guess what the man did? The man called the police on her. So it's kind of like both of them got arrested, but it's also like the man cannot be removed from the premises of the woman's home. And this woman is a mother. Like either she got out of work or just got out of vacation or something. Like she kind of looks like she got off of work, like she had like the puff phones or something, like the headphone that it's kind of like headphones, but it isn't. It's kind of like to cover your ears because it's so freaking cold out, or at least that's how cold it is in New York, that like she came back and just saw this random man. And when the police came, they arrested her, but also the man is also arrested. I'm not sure. Again, I'm giving you the best I can when it comes to this news, but it's insane. Imagine me coming home and I see this random guy. Literally, I have never seen him ever before. I don't know who he is. Not a lot of guys I'm cool with, especially when it comes down to a very older gentleman that I have no idea or where he's from. And I guarantee you he's not a fan because I don't even have a lot of guys in my audience. So what? And also they don't know what I look like. So a lot of times if they're like, "Oh, Vince, I know you from YouTube channel." Listen, man, I don't know how you know me or how or whatever, or I don't know which source or anything like that when it comes down to this channel, but I don't know what. But also, what the hell are you doing in my house? And I try to call the police, like, "Hey, man, this person will leave. Like, can you get him out?" And they called the police on me, and I'm just like, "Okay, first off, that's not gonna work." Little did I know, it worked. Like, it worked on his favor. Apparently, I'm in handcuffs and I'm arrested for what though? This is my house. So this person is in my house, and you just arrested me. Like, what? Like, is this what we doing? Listen, what's scary is that I feel like that is not the craziest thing, because a lot of crazy things happen in America. Okay, what the hell is up with our judging system, our freaking like court system, like what's legal or what's not legal? Listen, the amount of people that can just walk in a store here in San Francisco and just take whatever it is and leave scot-free is probably often. The reason why I don't go in the city, because that's often. I guarantee you it's a Tuesday, it's a regular day when it comes down to somebody breaking your windows and stealing your stuff. Who's surprised? It's so messed up because that's a freaking crime. Listen, I know that Batman and Spider-Man don't exist, but for crying out loud, you gotta bring out the obvious here. You gotta know who to arrest. And if the person that is arrested is the one that is actually like that's their car and they're the ones going to jail for what though? Like, how do you make sense? And listen, I dealt with the court system. It's a pain. It's unfair. It's like there's certain things that they do technically, the technical, if you have money and this and that, I just don't get it. Okay, listen, the court system, when it comes down to injustice, really pisses me off. Okay, I never understand that. And I guarantee you, I will lose the court if some like random robber just called the police on me and just like, just out of nowhere, like first off, you robbed me and I'm the one going to jail. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. So it doesn't make sense for this poor lady to actually have this random dude showed up in this house and just got arrested. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But who am I to know? Who am I to know? I guess common sense is just a sin nowadays for these freaking people. For crying out loud. Anyways. But yeah, just that news it really angers me because, listen, it doesn't make sense when I tell you. But an example of like if you were in that woman's shoes, if you were in this poor person shoes when it comes down to just being robbed and having like injustice, I guarantee you would be pissed like I am. Okay, you would, unless you're like a little kid and have no idea what I'm saying. Okay, I don't know why you listening to this or something. Maybe you're bored out of nowhere or something. But listen, this is adult speaking. Okay, you as a kid don't have to deal with that. But think about what your papa has to deal with, what your mama has to deal with. Now that's you. Can you imagine? I guarantee you be thinking you smart and all that, but it ain't that easy, okay? It's hard, and it doesn't make sense. But then again, what am I to say? Listen, I make a lot of rants, but this is one of those that has to make sense. It's freaking common sense. Will you think I'm this angry giving you common sense at any point? But apparently, as further and further as this, America evolves, like it's just like common sense is just like all of a sudden abnormal. Like for crying out loud. Anyways, New York is crazy. I recommend not visiting, that city or any big cities or anything like that. But anyways, another thing that happened is like the Maryland bridge disaster. Did anyone see this? Like this happened in Maryland, like when the bridge collapsed because apparently the person on the ship was too drunk to actually make a steer or something like that. Freaking driving the Titanic and just on the sea or whatever. And, poor Leonardo DiCaprio just got decapitated with the freaking bridge on top of him. Now, of course, I'm saying that in a funny way, but this is what I seen. Like just a ship that made a wrong stir and boom, the bridge is done. What's also sad is that apparently there's like this also news about this lady that had like bridge phobia or something like that, which I don't blame her. I mean, shoot, can you imagine being in that situation when the bridge was collapsing? Shoot, I would have bridge phobia. But with this and her going through it, like I saw a video of it. I'm not sure it's related to the whole bridge situation. But yeah, the Maryland bridge disaster just like happened. I was looking at this because I first discovered this on TikTok and I was like, how the hell are they going to fix all this? This is a literal like freaking like Captain America took a battle with Thanos and they showed up in freaking Maryland out of all places and just freaking decapitated that damn bridge that's pretty long and it probably cost $1 billion. Yeah, cost $1 billion. Freaking got destroyed. What the heck just happened? I don't know, but that's crazy. Okay, all because a ship lost their steering or something more. A disaster like that makes a full reaction like this is insane. That bridge is like, as you would think a freaking typhoon just showed up. No, just some person driving the bridge got a little too much last night and boom. Like that just happened. Some people just don't care. A lot of times. But if you're in Maryland, imagine going to work the next day and then you have like, damn, I gotta go all the way to Philadelphia to actually go around and that would take me 8 hours. Like that would suck. Like I don't know. Not everyone like. I'm just thinking about this. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I know there's a lot of disasters out there, but this is one of those where it's like, that has to be very inconvenient. But another inconvenient thing is Japan. So pretty much from what I heard, they're banning tourists or something. That's a first. I don't know who's to blame. It's probably these creators that are in Japan, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say his name, blah, 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 Somali. But like he's pretty much the biggest one. Johnny Somali is like literally the biggest one that actually, when it comes down to having Japan, because they ban tourists for a specific date, it's not going to be all year, but they're going to be banning tourists for a certain date. And people say like he's the cause of it. Or maybe it's because not only him, but just many idiots that came to Japan and ruined the culture and stuff like that, thinking that they have no, like, listen, when it comes down to any country, there's no such thing as a country that you cannot get in trouble in, okay? I don't care if it's like the richest isles of Norway, the freaking peaceful lands of South Korea, and Japan, or just like the outside going places of freaking Bali. No, there's rules, there's laws everywhere. And one of those laws are more stricter than freaking more stricter than the US or more stricter than Japan's. Okay, when it comes down to these laws, because if anything, we don't know about Japan's laws. I don't know. I'm American. But I guarantee you that maybe their laws could be more different than ours, but it could be stricter. We don't know. I don't know. Okay, it's been a while. But, man, just the banning tourists for that specific amount of time when it was open to tourists. And when it was open to tourists, it was really popping. It was popping. Almost every person I follow that is not even like has like a big following, but went to Japan out of nowhere. They just went there just willy-nilly. I didn't. I could have gone to Japan. It was actually a bit, I feel like that could have been a quicker trip when I actually went to the Philippines and Singapore. Yeah, easily I could have gone to Japan, but listen, as much as I paid a fine, good ticket, and also it's a bit cheaper, like, where I was going. I did not have enough for Japan, nor my plan was to go to Japan, okay? I wanted to go to the Philippines to visit family there, but yeah, Japan could have been a trip that I could have gone to, and now this happened. Now we're kind of like worried about like, oh crap, what was the next creator that's gonna ruin for everybody to go there? It's like damn, that kind of has to suck. But other than that, someone's mowing the lawn. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. That's all I have. Not really anything news in terms of animation and gaming. I heard Xbox is making a handheld. That's nothing crazy to talk about. People won't shut up about Helldivers and Rebirth again. Because when are people gonna shut up about Rebirth? Okay, I never played Final Fantasy Rebirth, and when it comes to that, it's like, well, damn, people are just really not on like people are just on about freaking Rebirth this, Rebirth that, like freaking AAA games. Why? When are we gonna talk about the actual, like, indie games have a bit more impact? Come on now, like especially when people were talking about Pepper Grinder, this new game that is not a freaking AAA. I was like, well, freaking finally. And there's this other person saying like, yeah, this game, like the fact that it's shorter is like, I feel better actually playing it better than the other games. And I was like, well, that's what I was saying. When it comes to actually smaller games, they deserve a shout out as well. But who am I? Pretty much at the end of the day, I'm just talking about what I want to talk about and just, sharing my thoughts, and whatever it is that offends you, good. No, I'm kidding. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Other than that, I'll see you when I see you. I'm not going to make promises or whatever after this, but hope guys have a good one. And also, God bless.